So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about setting up and using groups in Blackboard Ultra. So there's two main reasons that I use groups in my courses. One is when I have group assignments. I want one student to submit on behalf of all students. When the student submits, it submits on behalf of the entire group. And then when I go in to look at it as instructor, I can give feedback to the group and feedback to the individual. I can also go in and adjust individual grades if there's a necessary adjustment. So somebody can get a higher grade or a lower grade. It keeps everything in one place. I provide one set of feedback and everybody in that group gets that feedback. The second area that I really like to use groups is in discussions. So I can have a class-wide discussion, for example, an intro forum where everybody's talking in the entire class is talking to each other. Or I can divide them into smaller groups so that there's a couple people that are able to discuss one topic in more depth. So in this case, I have Corey and Lightning in a group and they're able to contribute content back and forth between them. Each individual in that group will be graded individually. They aren't graded as a group, but it provides a more back and forth discussion for them. So let's look at what I did to set those groups up and then attach them to the assignments. So I'm going to go into the group space at the top of my course, and I'm going to create a new group set. So I want to make a group set for assignment 2, and I'll call it assignment 2 groups. Now, in this case, I had my students get into the groups together in the class, and then they gave me a list of what their groups were. So now I know who's going to be in which group, and I'm going to put them in those groups by clicking on each of the people, and then in the one group, and then creating the new group. I like to name it with the first names of the people in the group, because then I can see really easily who's in that group. And then I'm going to put Rosie and Ada into the other group and create a new group. And I'm going to save that group set. I'm going to make it available or visible to the students. So now I want to go back and I want to connect that to my assignment. So I can access my assignment from the content area or from my gradebook. And I'm looking at assignment 2. So if I go to the content and settings, in the settings area, that's where I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to assign this to groups. So you'll notice that the window comes up that I could create the groups right here. If I do that, then those groups don't show up in that top tab on our course. So I actually want to use my pre-organized groups. So the group set assignment 2 groups, I'm going to select that. It's going to show me what that breakdown was, and I'm going to save it. So now you can see this is assigned to 2 different groups. And when I go into the submission area, I'll see those groups. So Corey and Lightning will submit here, and Rosie and Ada will submit here. So now that you've set up a group assignment, it's nice to give a space for students to talk amongst themselves or to share resources. So you can do that in your Ultra course by going to the discussions and creating a discussion forum for them. So I'm going to call this assignment 2 discussion. And I'm going to go into the settings area and I'm going to assign this to groups. So I'll go and find that same group set and save it. And so now this discussion forum is an area that Corey and Lightning can talk between themselves and share resources. And I can also see those discussions going on as well as soon as I make that visible to them. So you might give them a discussion prompt. For example, outline 3 strategies you'll use to stay on top of your group work this term. And you can also explain what this space is about. So you can continue to use this space to share resources with each other, brainstorm ideas, and only members of your group and Kathy can see this discussion. So now let's go in and take a look at what this looks like from a student perspective. So Rosie Revere is coming into her course and she knows that the instructor has set up a discussion for her and her group. So she can go to the discussion area. Now, the discussion isn't available in the gradebook because it's not a gradable discussion. If I made it a gradable discussion, it would also be listed there in the gradebook. So she can click on that assignment to discussion. She can see that Ada Twist is part of that discussion, and Ada Twist had put a response. So now Rosie can reply to Ada. And at any point, as an instructor, I could come in and contribute to this discussion as well. Now, when they're ready to submit their assignment, they can go to either where it was set up in the content area or into the gradebook, find that assignment, and then start their attempt. So Rosie Rivera is going to go in and start the attempt. She sees the assignment instructions and then adds their assignment and saves it. And as soon as it's uploaded, she'll see this submit button becomes dark, and it says you're going to submit on behalf of your group. After you do so, they can't edit it. Do you want to continue? So she can click submit. If she decided to save and close, then Ada could go in, add another document herself in the same area, and then continue. So Rosie is going to submit and then close out of that. So now she can see in her gradebook that this item is submitted. If Ada Twist went into her course, she would also see it was submitted. So now when I come back in from an instructor perspective and I go to my gradebook and I go to assignment 2 and look at the submissions, I can see that Rosie and Ada have one attempt to grade. I click on their assignment. I can give feedback here in the assignment itself, and then I can write out feedback to the group. So I can give group feedback here and save that. And then I can go to the individual. So I can give feedback directly to Ada, and I can give feedback to Rosie. Now I can assign them a grade for their assignment. And then I can go back to the main page. And if I want to give different grades for each of those, each of the individuals, I can click on the members below their names or below the title of their group, and I can adjust those. So Ada is going to get a 70 and Rosie is going to get a 90. So as is always the case, you then want to post these grades to make them available to the students. When Rosie comes back into her course to look at her grade book, she can see that assignment 2 has been graded and sees that she has a 90 out of 100. She can click on that assignment title and look at the grading of it. So look at her attempt and see the group feedback as well as the individual feedback. She will see the grade that the group got and then also her final grade in the assignment. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Feel free to reach out if you have further questions or suggestions for other videos to create.